जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यमुनतीरावनजारि यमुनतीरावनजारि जय राधमाधवा जय कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपादा जय प्रभुपादा भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपादा नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय नित्य गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्णा welcome to all the devotees so we will start with Mangalacharan Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiryaye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraय Govindaya Namo Namaha. So, Hare Krishna, we are in the Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, third chapter, so which is dealing about the pastimes of the Lord out of Vrindavan. So, Vrindavan Leela is always nectarian, and how many ever times we hear it, it always feels to be new. And each and every time when we read the past times, when we talk about the past times, when we listen to past times, we get different realizations in the association of devotees. So today we shall try to uh, cover 8 shlokas from 8 till 15th onwards. So we will start with the first shloka for today. Srimad Bhagavatam, third canto, third chapter, shloka number 8. आसां मुहूर्तये कस्मिन् आसां मुहूर्तये कस्मिन् नानागारेषु योषिताम् नानागारेषु योषितां सविदं जगृहे पाणिन् सविदं जगृहे पाणिन् अनुरूप स्वमायया Anurupa Swamayaya Asam Muhurtaye Kasmin Nanagare Suyoshitam Savidam Jagrihe Panin Anurupa Swamayaya. So, the meaning of the shloka is that all those princesses, so we are referring to the 16,108 Ranis, princesses, who are uh, who are there in Vrindavan, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions, exactly matching each and every princess. So uh, this is the potency of the Lord, which is called a Swamayaya, internal potency. And this we cannot understand with our limited intelligence. So we only have to have faith and try to understand through the instructions of our spiritual masters. So he says, all those princesses were lords in different apartments, and the Lord simultaneously assumed different bodily expansions, exactly matching each and every princess. He accepted their hands in perfect rituals by his internal potency. So, which means each and every gopi, they thought that Krishna was there only with them. And then, uh, even in terms of hands, even in terms of size, he expanded himself in such a way that it was a perfect match, exactly matching each and everyone. So, can I request Rao Prabhu to read the purport? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita 5.33, the Lord is described as follows in regard to his innumerable plenary expansions. Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayavvanam cha Vadeshu Durlabam Adurlabam
Vedeshu
Atmabhaktau
Durlabham.
Vedeshu Durlabam Adurlabam Atmabhaktau Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. The Lord Govinda, whom I worship, is the virginal personality of Godhead. He is non different from his innumerable plenary expansions, who are all infallible, virginal, and unlimited, and who have eternal forms. Although is primeval, the oldest personality, is always fresh and young. By his internal potency, the Lord can expand himself into various personalities of Swayam Prakasha and again into Prabhava and Vaibhava forms. And all of them are non different from one another. The forms into which the Lord expanded to marry the princess in different apartments were all slightly different just to match each and every one of them. They are called Vaibhava Vilasa forms of the Lord and are affected by his internal potency Yogamaya. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, if you see the third line of this shloka referenced from the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. So, this pastimes of the Lord, where he is expanding himself into so many forms, so many personalities to match the uh, forms of the gopis, we cannot conceive with our limited intelligence. So it says Vedeshu Durlabham. So if we try to, Durlabham means difficult. So if we try to read the scriptures and try to understand the Lord, his qualities, his pastimes, it is not going to happen. Vedeshu Durlabham. So our lifespan is very limited. And in addition to the lifespan, our what is that? Intelligence is also very limited. And because of that, it is difficult for us to understand the Lord if we think that we can read the scriptures and understand Him. At the same time, the second part of the third line, it says, Adullabham Atma Bhakto. So if we try to surrender to the Lord, then what happens? Understanding Him becomes very, very easy. So this is something which is we have to understand. And this is what it says, that this kind of Leela we have to understand by serving the spiritual master, by serving his devotees. If we do that, then we can understand these pastimes very easily. And this is, he has multiple potencies, and then there is a uh, his form. There are some forms. Prabhava means his his chetana, means there are some expansions where his mood is coming up. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an expansion for the mood of Srimati Radharani. Vaibhava means it is more of the physical expansion. So like that, there are different forms. I am not going to go into that. The most important thing to understand is that we should understand and we should appreciate the forms of the Lord through the instructions coming from the scriptures, and not try to conceive from our own intelligence. So the next shloka, 3.3.9. तास्वपत् तास्वपत्यानि अजनयात् तास्वपत्यानि अजनयात् आत्मतुल्यानि सर्वतः आत्मतुल्यानि सर्वतः एकैकस्यां दश दश एकैकस्यां दश दश प्रकृतेर्विबुभूषया प्रकृतेर्विबुभूषया तास्वपत्यानि अजनयाद् आत्मतुल्यानि सर्वतः एकैकस्यां दश दश प्रकृतेर्विबुभूषया. So he says, just to expand himself according to his transcendental features, the Lord begot in each and every one of them 10 offsprings with exactly his own qualities. So it says that in the previous shloka, we saw that he expanded himself into as many forms as the princess whom he was marrying. And now, after the marriage, for expanding himself according to his transcendental features, what is doing? In each and every one of them, he begot 10 offsprings with exactly his own qualities. So this is something which is very important. So we should not think that this begetting this 10 offsprings happens in the same way in which human beings beget offsprings. So even when Lord Krishna Lord Krishna appeared, it is explained in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So now we are all in the third canto. So when we get that to the 10th canto, we will see that. So it is explained in the 10th canto that when Lord Krishna manifested, he first manifested in the heart of Vasudeva. And then from the heart of Vasudeva, he transferred himself to the heart of Devaki. And from the heart of Devaki, he descended into the womb of Devaki. and from the womb of Devaki, he came out. And when he came out, it is mentioned in the 10th canto that he came out in the four-handed form. And this four-handed form, it is told that he wanted Vasudev and Devaki to understand that he is actually the Supreme Personality of Lord Himself. He is not an ordinary child. There's a very nice shloka. I think it is coming in the 10th canto, 3rd chapter, shloka number 45, um, which says that you should not think of myself as a ordinary child. You should, if you pray to me as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, you will attain your what is that? Your real form. Yeah, this is the shloka. Yuva mam putra bhavena brahma bhavena chasakrit chintayantau krita snehau yashyate madgatim param. He is telling, Lord Krishna is instructing Vasudeva and Devaki, both of you, husband and wife, constantly think of me as your son, but always know that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By thus thinking of me constantly with love and affection, you will achieve the highest perfection, returning home back to Godhead. So this instruction appears after, was given after he appears. So sorry for jumping to the 10th canto, which we will see over a period of time. But the thing is that the way in which the Lord appears or he makes his offspring appear is different from how human beings take birth. That is something which we need to understand. And then, secondly, irrespective of whether they look identical to any normal human being, all the expansions of the Lord have the same potency of the Lord Himself, so that is a way in which we should understand and we should respect. That is what we should keep in mind at all the times. And with exactly His own qualities. This is again something which is very interesting. For example, when our children are born, maybe we say that your son looks like his father, your daughter looks like the mother, or it's a combination of both. So, like that, for example, looks will be like the mother, character will be like the father, and vice versa. So, it is never 100% match in terms of qualities. But here it is very clearly mentioned that with exactly his own qualities. So this is a potency of the Lord which we need to understand. And also the way in which the offsprings are begot, it is not like how human beings are born. It is like the way we discussed. Let us move to the next shloka, shloka number 10. Kalamagada salvadin, Kalamagada salvadin, Anikairundatah puram, Anikairundadah puram, Ajiganat swayam divyam, Ajiganat swayam divyam, Swapumsam teja adisat, Swapumsam teja adisat, Kalamagada salvadin, Anikairundada puram, Ajiganat swayam divyam, Swapumsam teja adisat. So the meaning of the shloka is that Kalayavana, the king of Magadha and Salva, attacked the city of Mathura. But when the city was encircled by their soldiers, the Lord refrained from killing them personally just to show the power of his own men. So this is talking about one more pastime that when the king of Magadha and Salva, Kalayavana, when he attacked, the Lord Krishna allowed his people to defeat them and instead of killing them personally. So let us try to understand more by going through the purport. Can I request Sushil Kumar Prabhu to read the purport? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. After the death of Kamsa, when Mathura was encircled by the soldiers of Kalyavan, Jarasandh and Shalva, the Lord seemingly fled from the city, and thus he is known as a Rancho, or one who fled from fighting. Actually, the fact was that the Lord wanted to kill them through the agency of his own men, devotees like Muchkund and Bhima. Kalyavan and the king of Magad were killed by Muchkund and Bhima respectively, who acted as agents of the Lord. By such acts, the Lord wanted to exhibit the prowess of his devotees, as if he were personally unable to fight, but his devotees could kill them. The relationship of the Lord with his devotees is a very happy one. Actually, the Lord descended at the request of Brahma in order to kill all the undesirables of the world. But to divide the share of the glory, he sometimes engaged his devotees to take the credit. The battle of Kurukshetra was designed by the Lord himself. But just to give the credit to his devotee Arjun, Nimit Matram Bhava Sabhyasachin, he played the part of the charioteer, while Arjun was given the chance to play the fighter and thus become the hero of the Battle of Kurukshetra. What he wants to do himself by his transcendental plans, he executes through his confidential devotees. That is the way of the Lord's mercy towards his pure, unalloyed devotees. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, very nicely, Srila Prabhupada is explaining in this purport as to how, though the Lord can remove or kill all the demons, there are many times where he allows his devotees to do the job. And this shloka, in a very nice way, it is told that though he has all the capability of killing Kalayavana, and Salva, he still gave the job to Muchukunda and Bhima. And again, Srila Prabhupada is very nicely giving an example that the battle of Kurukshetra. So he could have killed all the Kauravas on his own. So there was no necessity for actually the battle itself to take place. But again, it is a transcendental pastime of the Lord that he made the battle of Kurukshetra to happen. And not only that, he gave Arjuna the capability to fight the battle and then the Pandavas to defeat the Kauravas. And when Arjuna, it is clearly explained in the what is that in the Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna is having a doubt that how I'm supposed to kill these so many people who are my devotees. Lord Krishna clearly tells Arjuna that just by my glance, their lives have already been shortened. So he very clearly tells Arjuna that just by my glance itself, their life has already been shortened. You have to just do the job of battling them, killing them, and then take the credit. And that's the same thing where Srila Prabhupada is very nicely telling that Nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. So nimitta matram means all of us are basically instruments in the hands of Lord Krishna. This is something which we need to remember in at each and every moment of our life. So there are many times when we do something and when somebody praises us, some kind of at least a little amount of pride gets into our brain, gets into our mind. We think, yeah, I am capable of doing this. So if somebody else would have done this, they would not have done it as so nice as me. So there are a lot of examples, even in Krishna consciousness. Somebody says, Prabhu, your lecture today was too good. Prabhuji, your kirtan was outstanding. Mataji, your vada was the best in the menus today. So like that, when people praise us for doing something, that pride gets into our this thing, our mind. So whenever that happens, we need to remember this thing what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, that we are all nimitta matram, means we are all instruments in the hands of the Lord. And I think I have given this example several times before, but still I will state it for my own purification. So Srila Prabhupada always used to take the example of a knife and a surgeon. So when the surgeon does the surgery, nobody says that the surgery was done by the knife. Everybody only tells that the surgeon did the operation. Similarly, whatever we do, we are basically instruments, knives in the hands of a surgeon, like the knives in the hands of a surgeon. We are instruments in the hands of the Lord. So, this is something which we need to keep in mind at each and every point of time. So, there is another example of the Lord allowing the plenty of examples are there. So, I can remember the Bhishma Dev. So, um, when Bhishma Dev was lying in the bed of arrows, he gave those instructions to the Pandavas, where um, he gives beautiful instructions about Varnashrama Dharma, about Lord Krishna himself, how he is the supreme personality of Godhead, and then he tells us uh, Vishnu Sahasranam, so where this beautiful uh, question and answer is there. Kim muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat. Then Bhishma answers, Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam. He says, if you want to attain liberation, worship this Anand Purushottam who is standing right in front of you. Like that, he gives plenty of instructions. So, all these instructions Lord Krishna himself would have given. But no, he allowed Bhishma Dev to give the same instructions so that the Lord wants the whole world to understand the potency of his devotees. He wants to glorify the devotees. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, um, Name, Name Bhaktya Pranashyati. What is this thing? Pratijanehi.
कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्त प्रणश्यति.
Thank you, Prabhu. Kaunteya Pratijanehi Name Bhaktya Pranashyati. He says, Kaunteya Pratijanehi, O son of Kunti, Arjuna, Pratijanehi, go and declare to the whole world, Name Bhaktya Pranashyati, my devotee is never vanquished. So now he could have given the same instruction that my devotee is never vanquished. No, he says, Arjuna, go and declare to the whole world. Kaunteya Pratijanehi, O son of Kunti, you go and tell the whole world that my devotee is never vanquished. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that one more reason why Lord Krishna is giving that is that there's a chance that Lord Krishna does not fulfill his promise, but Lord always fulfill the promises made by his devotees. There are plenty of examples, promises made by Draupadi, promise made by Narayana Muni, Narada Muni, which he fulfilled through Damodar Lila. There are plenty of pastimes. So coming back to this particular shloka, he wanted to glorify his devotees so that instead of killing them on his own, he made them to be done by Muchukunda and Bhima. So the thing which we need to understand is that whatever we are able to do is because of the capability, because of the intelligence given by Lord Krishna. Buddhir Buddhimatham Asmi. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. I am the splendor of the splendid. He tells in a very nice way in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So whenever we feel proud for doing something, always remember this. Nimitta matram bhavasavya sachin. Hare Krishna. So let us move to the next shloka for the day. Shloka number 11. Sambaram dvividam banam. Sambaram dvividam banam. Muram balvalameva cha. Muram balvalameva cha. Anyamscha dantavakradin. Anyamscha dantavakradin. Avadit kamscha gatayat. Avadit kamscha gatayat. Sambaram dvividam banam. Muram balvalameva cha. Anyamscha dantavakradin. Avadit kamscha gatayat. So the meaning of the shloka is that of kings like Sambara, Dvivida, Bana, Mura, Balvala, and many other demons, such as Dantavakra, some he killed himself and some he caused to be killed by others. So there are many other kings like Sambara here. There are so many names which are given and many other demons. Some he killed himself and some he caused to be killed by others. So why he is causing to be killed by others? He explained in the previous shloka. Why some he is killing himself. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuke yuke. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam means for eliminating demons. So, but for eliminating the demons, he doesn't need to come. But Paritranaya sadhunam, for giving pleasure to his devotees, he comes. So coming back to the shloka, what are the reasons why when he can, what is that? He can just send anyone, or if he just decides, all the demons, millions or whatever it is, they will get billions or trillions, they will get eliminated in a moment. So why he needs to kill himself, kill those demons himself personally? So the same question, it is actually this is something which happened really. So when Akbar was there, we know that Birbal was one of the ministers in the cabinet of Akbar, and then he was one of the ministers which Akbar trusted and used to respect, one of his most respected ministers. And there are so many things which we have heard. So one of the things is that Akbar asked Birbal that so your Lord is so powerful. Why does he need to descend himself for killing all these demons? He needs to just think, and everybody will be eliminated. So Birbal told Akbar, okay, good question, but if I explain now, you will not understand. I will give you a demo at the right time. Okay. Then there was one morning where in the palace of Akbar, he was standing on a kind of a balcony, and then in the ground floor, there was a huge swimming pool where we know those royal palaces, and there were soldiers standing by. So Birbal came there, and then he suddenly told that अकबर की पोता जो है इसमें गिर गया, स्विमिंग पूल में गिर गया. The grandson of Akbar has fallen into the pool. So Akbar was standing on the balcony. From there, he dumped straight into the swimming pool, which is on the ground floor. And then, after a few minutes, it was found that there was no one was there. Akbar came out and he was very angry. He told Birbal, "What kind of a joke is this? You are joking on my grandson, that he has fallen into the pool." So then Birbal told, "You remember you asked me one question that the Lord is so powerful. Why does he need to send? Why does he need to descend himself to kill the demons?" Akbar said, "Yes. So now you are the king of this. You are the emperor, and you were standing in the balcony in the first floor level. The swimming pool is in the ground floor level. Number one. Number two, next to the swimming pool, there were guards who were already standing. There was no need for you to jump from the first floor to break your hands or legs. You know that your soldiers were standing right next. You could have told them just jump and then search. But no, you straight away jumped from the ground floor. Why? From the first floor level, why?" Then Akbar said, "But at the end of the day, it is my grandson. It is my own grandson." So Birbal told, the relationship between the Lord and his devotees are exactly the same. The Lord loves the devotees so much so that he treats them as their own. Aham Bhakta Paradina. So Lord clearly says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th Canto, 4th chapter, Shloka number 63, that I am completely in the control of my devotees and I reside inside their hearts. So he says in the same way, even though all the soldiers were there, you died from there because it is your grandson. Similarly, the Lord comes to give pleasure to his devotees. The Lord comes to kill the demons because he considers the devotees as his own. He stays in the hearts of the devotees. So similarly, whenever he killed himself, he wanted to give pleasure to the devotees by performing all these pastimes. There's a very nice this thing that these kind of pastimes, they are always very relishable to the devotees, and all these pastimes are those um, which ensure that whenever devotees are meeting, these are the topics of discussions which has to be done when devotees happen. Discussion of the Lord, discussion of his pastimes, discussion of his qualities, and discussion of his messages. So let us go to the next shloka for today, shloka number 12. अथ ते भ्रातृपुत्राणाम् अथ ते भ्रातृपुत्राणाम् पक्षयो पतितान् नृपान् पक्षयो पतितान् नृपान् चचाल भूकुरुक्षेत्रम् चचाल भूकुरुक्षेत्रम् येषामापततां बलै येषाम् आपततां बलै अथ ते भ्रातृपुत्राणाम् पक्षयो पतितान् नृपान् चचाल भूकुरुक्षेत्रम् येषाम् apatatam balai. Then, O Vidura, the Lord caused all the kings, both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, to be killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. All those kings were so great and strong that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the warfield. So he says, so this is being told to Vidura. And who is telling to Vidura? Hare Krishna. This
Ud-
conversation is happening between whom and whom?
Uddhava and Vidu.
Hare Krishna, Jai Ho. I am just I am just checking that whether everyone is alive, whether everyone is listening properly. So there is a very nice this thing. What is that analogy, or I don't know whether what do you call it? Once in Damodar Desh Yatra, there was a lecture by Sarvabhauma Prabhu, and he was telling that it is a responsibility of the speaker to ensure that the audience is alert. And he was telling that there is a what happens when the speaker does not ensure that the audience is not alert. So he said that there was a point when a bus driver and a pandit died at the same time, and both of them were taken before Yamadar Maharaj to decide as to what happens next. So first was the turn of the bus driver. So the bus driver appeared before Yamadar Maharaj. So Yamadar Maharaj says, "Okay, you go to heaven." So the Pandit was standing this next to him, was next in the line. So the Pandit thought, okay, this bus driver is going to heaven, then my going to heaven is confirmed. So when Pandit came, Yamadharmaraj said, okay, you go to hell. So this Pandit was surprised. So he asked, what is this, Yamadharmaraj? It is very unfair that guy BD pita hai, he drinks, he smokes BDs, he drinks all kinds of nonsense he does. I do all kinds of homam rituals. I talk about the Vedas. I chant the Vedas. You sent him to heaven and you are sending me to hell. So Yamadharmaraj said that when when you talk about Vedas, people sit in the backside and then sleep. Whereas when he is driving the bus, he drives in such a way that out of fear of life, everybody in the bus chants Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So whenever he drives, he makes 40 to 50 people remember me. So he goes to heaven, you go to hell. So coming back to the shloka, so this conversation is happening between Uddhava and Vidura. So he says that the Lord caused all the kings, means both the enemies and those on the side of your fighting nephews, means he's referring to the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So first, the Pandavas, the Kauravas were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra, and then he engineered the fight within the Pandavas so that the pastime of his disappearance happens, and also the next yuga, which is Kali Yuga, will appear. So he says all those kings were so strong and great that the earth seemed to shake as they traversed the battlefield. So those kings, both which were killed in the battle of Kurukshetra, which is the Kauravas, and even the Pandavas, were so great. Yudhishthira Maharaj and all those things, they were really great. So, what is the greatness of the kings? So, in the Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter, Lord Krishna says Naranam Naranam Nirnamadipam means out of the humanity, the kings represent me. So I'll find out which shloka number it is, and we will try to see the shloka. The thing is that when he tells that the kings were so strong, we need to understand that the kings are also a representation of Lord Krishna. Adityas, Vedas, Samas, King, Rudras. Sorry, I don't remember the shloka number, so forgive me. That's the reason why I'm trying to search. Says Naranam Naramadipam.
प्रभु अभी एक गया है, उसमें लिखा है आई एम द मोनार्क.
Where it is at, Prabhu? Which number?
Naranam Naradipam, right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Except Krishna, I remember everything. Where was that, Prabhu? What was the number?
थोड़ा और ऊपर चलिए. I have seen that.
Uh-huh. Jai Ho, your attention for detail is good, Prabhu. Was it 25?
Yes, 27.
Yes. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So if you see the last line, it says, Naranam cha Naradipam. So he says that among men, I am the monarch. So Lord Krishna says that the king is actually the representative of Lord Krishna. So which means in those days, it was the responsibility of the king to establish a dharmic government where we follow the Varnashrama, where the rule is done based on the advice given by the Brahmins to ensure that the government was in such a way that all the citizens could practice devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead. So there were temples, there were um there were there were rituals which were organized regularly, and if you see the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni, it is clearly mentioned that when Ekadasi happens, the king used to observe Ekadasi and the citizens used to complete their fast only after the king completed the fast. That was one of the reasons why Ambarish Maharaj could not wait for Durvasa Muni to come back, and he wanted to take one drop of water so that all his citizens also can complete the fast. So the kings were so great. Why they were so great? Because those days the kings were representatives of Lord Krishna. Why they are representatives of Lord Krishna? Because the kings ensured that the government was dharmic, that the citizens were provided an ecosystem where they don't need to worry about their means of livelihood. They just need to concentrate on whatever is their capability according to their varna and then do their job, so that the king provided the facilities, the ecosystem where they could do devotional service based on their own capabilities. So the Brahmins can preach, they do their rituals, the Kshatriyas can do their government, the Vaishyas can take care of farming and other things, the Shudras can do service. So by whatever is their capability, everyone can engage in devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead. So this kind of environment, this kind of ecosystem, this kind of government was provided by the kings in those days. And the reason that is because they were the expansions of Lord Krishna, and that's also the reason why those kings were so great. And those kings cannot be eliminated without the direct or indirect uh, decision or mercy of Lord Krishna. It is the pastime of Lord Krishna that he ensured that all those kings who were so great and strong were eliminated. Let us go to the next shloka, shloka number 13. Sakarna dushasana saubalanam kumantrapakena hatashriyayusham suyodanam sanucharam sayanam Bagnorum urvyam nanananda pashyan Bagnorum urvyam nanananda pashyan Sakarna dushashana saubalanam Kumantrapakena hatashriyayusham Suyodanam sanucharam sayanam Bagnorum urvyam nanananda pashyan. So it says, Duryodhana was bereft. The meaning of the shloka is that Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and the duration of his life because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna, Dushashana, and Saubala. When he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy to see the scene. So, we all know about Duryodhana. He was bereft of his fortune. So, the real fortune was not the kingdom, was not his army. We all know that when Duryodhana and Arjuna went to see Lord Krishna, we all know that Duryodhana sat next to the head of Arjuna and sat behind the head of Lord Krishna, and Arjuna sat next to the feet. When he asked Duryodhana, Duryodhana said that he wanted the army, and when he asked Arjuna, he said that he wanted you. But we all know what happened. So Duryodhana was bereft of his fortune and duration of life. So what is the real fortune? The real fortune of Duryodhana was not his kingdom, was not his army. The real fortune of Duryodhana was that he was present when Lord Krishna was there, but still he could not take benefit. And it is because of the wrong advice given by his people. And he says that when he lay on the ground with his followers, his thighs broken, although he was powerful, the Lord was not happy. So though Duryodhana was a completely adharmic person, but still when he was about to die, the Lord was still not happy to see the scene. Let us try to understand more by reading the purport of Srila Prabhupada. So can I request Smita Mataji to read the purport? Hare Krishna. Smita Mataji, are you there? Hare Krishna. Smita Karnik.
Prabhuji, I'm on the phone. It is difficult to read.
No worries, Mataji. Amit Prabhu, are you able to read? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. The fall of Duryodhana, the leading son of Dhritarashtra, was not pleasing to the Lord, although he was on the side of Arjuna, and it was he who advised Bhima how to break the ties of Duryodhana while the fight was going on. The Lord is constrained to award punishment upon wrongdoer, but he is not happy to award such punishments because The living entities are originally his parts and parcels. He is harder than the thunderbolt for the wrongdoer and softer than the rose for the faithful. The wrongdoer is misled by bad associates and by ill advice, which is against the established principles of the Lord's order, and thus he becomes subject to punishment. The surest path to happiness is to live by the principles laid down by the Lord and not disobey his established laws, which are enacted in the Vedas and the Puranas for the forgetful living entities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So, if we see this particular shloka, it is very clearly told that because of the intricacy of ill advice given by Karna, Dushasana, and Saubala, and though it was Lord Krishna who advised Arjuna that if you break the thighs of Duryodhana, if he will be defeated. Though he was the one who gave the instruction, he was the one who gave the advice, but still, when he was lying on the battlefield completely defeated, he was still not happy. And Srila Prabhupada very nicely explains that he is harder than the thunderbolt in terms of punishment. So even though he is punishing, he is not happy to see the person receiving the punishment. So Srila Prabhupada always used to give the example of a father punishing his son. So when the son is doing something wrong, when the father punishes, we all know that it is not to inflict any kind of what is that pain on the son. The purpose is to correct him. The purpose is to make him understand that what he has done is not correct. But still, when the person is undergoing, when the child is undergoing the punishment, the father is still not happy. So internally he is still not happy. This is always the example which used to be given by Srila Prabhupada. So the same thing is again mentioned here, that though Duryodhana was lying on the battlefield, the Lord was still not happy to see the punishment. So again, this thing is that ill advice. So this ill advice is something which is very, very important. Just give me one second, Prabhu. My office, they are calling. Just 1 minute.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Apologies. So basically, the intricacy of ill advice. This is something which we need to be very careful. So there are so many times in Bhagavad Gita and in Srimad Bhagavatam where it is very clearly mentioned what kind of advice we should not consider. And each and every time it is very clear. Any instruction or any advice which is against what is told in the scriptures, it should never be accepted. There are plenty of examples. Let us take the example of the pastime of Bali Maharaj. So we all know that when Vamana Dev came as a dwarf Brahman to the palace of Bali Maharaj, and then he asked for 3 feet of land. So when so we all know that Sukracharya was the guru of Bali Maharaj, and Sukracharya told Bali Maharaj that he is not an ordinary Brahman. So the person who has come is Lord Krishna himself. So please don't accept this. So then Bali Maharaj did not listen to the instruction of his guru, of his spiritual master. Though Sukracharya was the spiritual master of Bali Maharaj, he did not listen to his instructions. He said that one, I have given commitment, and two, if Lord Krishna has come, it is my responsibility to serve. That is what the scripture says. So, irrespective of what happens to me, I will do. I will give this. Then what Bali Maharaj did? So, Bali Maharaj took the form of a small, what do we call it, bee or something, went into the they hold that what do we call it, kettle like thing which the Brahmins used to carry, and there is a place where the water comes out. So he went and then blocked the this thing so that the water does not come out. So when the water is poured on the feet of Vamana Dev, and when Bali Maharaj washes the feet, it is confirmed that Bali Maharaj has given the commitment to give whatever he wants. That is the indication. So for to ensure that the water does not come out of that, what is that device?
Kamandal, Prabhu.
Kamandal. Thank you, Prabhu. So to ensure that the water does not come out of that Kamandal, so Sukracharya took the form of a small bee or something, and he blocked the nozzle. So Vamanadev understood it. He took a small pin like this and then just poked it so that it went out and then the water came. So the thing to understand is that wrong advice given by anyone should not be taken. So we all know that Bali Maharaj, though Vamanadev expanded himself with his 2 steps, he measured all the material and then spiritual planets. And then the 3rd step, he put on the head of Bali Maharaj and then sent him downwards into the hellish planet. But still, he was given in charge of one of the planets, and then Lord Krishna gave the benediction because of his Atma Nivedan of Bali Maharaj, because of his surrender. He still told that I will come and serve as your gatekeeper. So, like that, the thing to understand is that if, particularly in this Kali Yuga, we are in this material world, day in and day out, we have no shortage of people who give us wrong advice. So they will tell, what is it, Prabhu? You are only 40, 30, 45. You can do all this Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam whenever you are 60. Abhi to ऐश करना है. We have to go on a tour of Europe, Australia, Thailand, Bangkok, and all those things. Now is the time to do all this, and after 60, you can read this Bhagavad Gita, all those things. First of all, we don't know whether we will be there. And number two, when we are there, whether our eyes will be able to read, whether our ears will be able to hear whatever somebody speaks, whether we will be in any position to go to any temple. None of us know. But still, there are plenty of people who give wrong advice. So the thing to understand is that when we take advice, we should always check whether this is what is told in the scriptures. This is what is being told by Vaishnavas. This is what is being told by senior acharyas in line with scriptures, irrespective of whoever says. if the instruction is not in line with what is told in Lord Krishna, if it is against the tenets of devotional service, it should not be practiced. As simple as that. So this is something which we need to keep in our mind for consideration. So there will always be times when we are in doubt what path to take, this way or that way. So at that point of time, whenever we are in any kind of crossroads or dilemma, we need to always think, what is the thing which will ensure that I stay in devotional service? Which path, which route will ensure that I don't go away from Krishna consciousness? Which decision will ensure that I continue in the satsanga of devotees? So these are all the things which we need to check and decide whenever we are in a dilemma. Let us go to the
Prabhu, who
next.
is this Subala?
It is one of the kings, Prabhu. I need to check.
Oh, I feel Saubala. It is not Subala. Saubala. And Saubala,
Yeah, Saubala, yes.
It is Shakuni,
yes,
Prabhuji?
the Shakuni, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. So let us go into the next shloka number 14. Kiyan bhuvoyam shapitaro baro, kiyan bhuvoyam shapitoru baro, yadrona bhishmar juna bhima mulai, yadrona bhishmar juna bhima mulai, अष्टादशक्षौहिणिको मदं सैर् अष्टादशक्षौहिणिको मदं सैर् आष्टे बलं दुर्विसहं यदूनाम् आष्टे बलं दुर्विसहं यदूनाम् कियान् भुवो यं शपितोरुभारो यद्रोण भीष्मार्जुन भीममूलै अष्टादशाक्षौ हिनिको मदं शैर् आस्ते बलं दुर्विसहं यदूनाम्. So the meaning of the shloka is that after the end of the battle of Kurukshetra, the Lord said, the abatement of the earth's great burden, 18 Akshauhinis, has now been effected with the help of Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Bhima. But what is this? There is still the great strength of the Yadu dynasty, born of myself, which may be a more unbearable burden. So, the Lord is telling that now the Kauravas have been eliminated, but still the Yadus are still there. So how to, we all know that when they understood, when Yudhishthira Maharaj understood that Lord Krishna disappeared from the world, disappeared from this material planet, he just left. And when, without telling anyone, he just started walking towards the north. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. So when Dhritarashtra, Yudhishthira Maharaj started leaving and then walking towards the north, the Draupadi, the other Pandavas, and then Draupadi started going there. So also started following him. So for those of you who have visited Chardham, so the spot where this Pandavas started to leave is there. It is not a little bit easy, but it is still there. We have to trek a little bit and then see. So he is telling that with the help, the burden has been lessened, but still the Yadus are there. and the Yadu dynasty is actually coming from Lord Krishna, and he is telling that still it is a burden to the earth. So let us try to understand by the purport of Srila Prabhupada. So I can see that there are 3 paragraphs. So I will request R.B. Prabhu to read the first paragraph. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, sorry, I cannot read.
No worries. Sumati Mataji, are you in a position to read the first paragraph?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Mataji.
Translation by Sri Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. It is wrong theory that due to an increase in population, the world becomes overburdened and therefore there are wars and other annihilating process. The earth is never overburdened. The heaviest mountains and oceans of the face of the earth hold more living entities than there are human beings, and they are not overburdened. If a census were taken of all the living beings on the surface of the earth, certainly it would be found that the number of humans is not even 5% of the total number of living beings. If the birth rate of human beings is increasing, then the birth rate of other living beings is increasing proportionately. The birth rate of lower animals, beasts, aquatics, birds, etc., is far greater than of human beings. There is an adequate arrangement for food for all the living beings all over the earth by the order of Supreme Lord, and He can arrange more and more if there is actually a disproportionate increase of living beings.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining, giving the first paragraph, that if you see the last line of the shloka, it is tell that which may be an unbearable burden. So we should not think that this burden is because of the population. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining. What exactly is the burden? Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the second paragraph, which I am going to request Nehal Mataji to read. Hare Krishna. Nehal Mataji,
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji, I'm here. Hare Krishna.
can you read the purport, second paragraph? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, just trying to read because even I'm on phone, but I'll read. Therefore, Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, there is no question of an increase in population causing a burden. The earth became overburdened due to dharma
Dharma Glani.
glani, or irregular discharge of Lord's desire. The Lord appeared on the earth to curb the increase in miscreants and not the increase in population as it is wrongly put forward by mundane economists. When Lord Krishna appeared, there had been a sufficient increase in miscreants who had violated the desire of the Lord. The material creation is meant for fulfilling the desire of Lord, and his desire is that the conditioned souls who are unfit to enter into the kingdom of God have a chance to improve their conditions for entering. The entire process of cosmic arrangement is intended just to give a chance to the conditioned soul to enter the kingdom of God, and there is an adequate arrangement for their maintenance by the nature of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So the actual burden is not the population, but the adharmic nature. And the word used here is Dharma Glani. So can anyone quickly tell where this word Glani comes? There's a very famous shloka, Hare Krishna.
Glanir Bhavati
Glanir
Bharata.
Bhavati Bharata Abhyuthanam
Thank you,
Dharmasthata.
Hare Krishna, Jai Ho. So the real burden is basically the dharma glani, which is the adharmic nature of the population. That is the real burden, not the population itself. And then, very rightly, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that this whole cosmic manifestation is given with an intention that when we are in this world, we understand that we have come here because we wanted to enjoy, which is giving all these problems, so that we realize that we don't belong here, and then we serve the Lord and then go back home, back to God at the kingdom of God. So there is adequate arrangement for the maintenance of the living entities. What is actually referred to as burden in this particular shloka is basically the adharmic nature of the people in the material world. So the last paragraph, can I request Subal Prabhu to read? Hare Krishna. Subal Prabhu, are you there? Hare Krishna. Okay, Rao Prabhu, can you read this last paragraph?
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Therefore, although there may be a great increase in population on the surface of the earth, if the people are exactly in line with God consciousness and are not miscreants, such a burden on the earth is a source of pleasure for her. There are two kinds of burdens. There is the burden of the beast and the burden of love. The burden of the beast is unbearable, but the burden of love is a source of pleasure. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti describes the burden of love very practically. He says that the burden of the husband on the young wife, the burden of the child on the lap of the mother, and the burden of wealth on the businessman, although actually burdens from the viewpoint of heaviness, are source of pleasure. And in the absence of such burdensome objects, one may feel the burden of separation, which is heavier to bear than the actual burden of love. When Lord Krishna referred to the burden of the Yadu dynasty on the earth, he referred to something different than the burden of the beast. The large number of family members born of Lord Krishna counted to some millions and were certainly a great increase in the population of the earth. But because all of them were expansions of the Lord Himself by His transcendental plenary expansions, they were a source of a great pleasure for the earth. When the Lord referred to them in connection with the burden of the earth, He had in mind their imminent disappearance from the earth. All the members of the family of Lord Krishna were incarnations of different demigods, and they were to disappear from the surface of the earth along with the Lord. When he referred to the unbearable heaviness on the earth in connection with the Yadu dynasty, he was referring to the burden of their separation. Srila Jiva Goswami confirms this inference. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. This is another interesting perspective which Srila Prabhupada explains with reference to the commentary of Srila Jiva Goswami, that the another way of viewing this burden is that since the Edu dynasty, they are all from descendants from the family of Lord Krishna. They are actually a source of pleasure, and because they were about to depart, it is also a different kind of a burden. This is an interesting perspective based on the commentary of Srila Jiva Goswami. Let us go to the next shloka, which is the last shloka for today. Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, 3rd chapter, shloka number 15. Mito yadaisam bhavita vivado. Mito yadaisam bhavita vivado. Madhva mada tamra vilochananam. Madhva mada tamra vilochananam. Naisam vadopaya iyanatonyo. Naisam vadopaya iyanatonyo. Mayi udyate antardadate swayam sma. Mayi udyate antardadate swayam sma. Mito yadai sambhavita vivado. Madhva mada tamra vilochananam naisamvadopaya iyanatonyo mayi udyatentar dadate swayam sma. It says, the meaning of the shloka is that when they quarrel among themselves, they is referring to, who is the they referring to? Hare Krishna?
Yaduvamsha.
Yadus.
Yadus. Hare Krishna. When they quarrel among themselves, influenced by intoxication, with their eyes red like copper because of drinking madhu, then only will they disappear. Otherwise, it will not be possible. On my disappearance, this incident will take place. So, this is about the events which are going to take place by the arrangement of Lord Krishna for elimination of the Yadu dynasty from the planet so that the next millennium, Kali Yuga, will start. So there is a very nice purport by Srila Prabhupada. Let us try to understand that. Can I request Rao Prabhu to read the purport? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The Lord and his associates appear and disappear by the will of the Lord. They are not subject to the laws of material nature. No one was able to kill the family of the Lord, nor was there any possibility of their natural death by the laws of nature. The only means, therefore, for their disappearance was the make show of a fight amongst themselves, as if brawling in intoxication due to drinking. That so-called fighting would also take place by the will of the Lord. Otherwise, there would be no cause for their fighting. Just as Arjuna was made to be illusioned by family affection, and thus the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, so the Yadu dynasty was made to be intoxicated by the will of the Lord and nothing more. The devotees and associates of the Lord are completely surrendered souls. Thus, they are transcendental instruments in the hands of the Lord and can be used in any way the Lord desires. The pure devotees also enjoy such pastimes of the Lord because they want to see Him happy. Devotees of the Lord never assert independent individuality. On the contrary, they utilize their individuality in pursuit of the desires of the Lord. And this cooperation of the devotees with the Lord makes a perfect scene of the Lord's pastimes. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So even the disappearance, Srila Prabhupada is very nicely explaining that uh, the associates of the Lord, they also appear and disappear by His will. So they are not subjected to death like the material laws of nature. So the only way that they are going to be eliminated is by the will of the Lord. And the will of the Lord is that first they get intoxicated, and then after intoxication, they start fighting. So both the intoxication and the fighting is basically the will of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada explains that even though the associates of the Lord, the Edu dynasties, they were made to get themselves intoxicated, they were made to fight between each other, they still accepted it willingly because it is the will of the Lord. They happily accepted it as a mercy of the Lord because they knew that they were instruments in in the hands of the Lord, and they just wanted to follow His instructions. Though they knew that by getting intoxicated, by fighting, they are going to be eliminated, but they also knew that this is a pastime of the Lord and this is His will. So they happily accepted it and then they did that. So very nicely Srila Prabhupada explains in the last line that devotees of the Lord never assert independent individuality. So they never think that they feel this, they feel that, and all those things. On the contrary, they utilize their individuality and in the pursuit of the desires of the Lord. So their surrender is to such an extent that their individuality is also used for fulfilling the desires of the Lord. And this cooperation of the devotees makes a perfect scene of the Lord's pastimes. So this is what makes the Lord's pastimes even more nectarian. So there is a very there are several places in the Srimad Bhagavatam where the purpose of this pastimes has told. One such shloka, I am just it is best shown on the screen, and this is coming in the rasa dance. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham astitah bhajate tadrishi krida ya shrutva tat paro bhavet. When the Lord assumes a human-like body to show mercy to his devotees, he engages in such pastimes as will attract those who hear them about them to become dedicated to him. So when we hear of all these pastimes, we get attracted to Lord Krishna, and then we become attra we gradually get more and more ruchi in the pastimes of the Lord. So when we get more and more ruchi, what happened? We continuously follow, we continuously discuss those pastimes within the whenever the devotees meet. So this is a very nice shloka which comes in the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita, Dushyanti cha Ramanti cha, where it tells the devotees get absolute pleasure by talking about the pastimes of the Lord. So this is this particular shloka number 9. Machitta madgata prana बोधयन्त परस्परं कथयन्तश्च मां नित्यं तुष्यन्ति च रमन्ति च. He says that the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. So coming back to the 8 shlokas which we saw today, the essence of this is that whenever we meet, we discuss about all these pastimes, and when we discuss about this, we get pleasure and satisfaction. We don't gossip and we don't talk about any other things. So with that, I stop here. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. There are many senior devotees in this, so please feel free to add any comments, any points, and please feel free to, if there are any doubts, any questions, please feel free to ask. By the mercy of Lord Krishna, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and by all the Vaishnavas and senior Acharyas, we will try to understand them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
As always, wonderful class. Rakesh, Prabhu, you have any question?
Yeah, I wanted to ask one thing. I understand why Krishna appears in this material world, so that with Akbar Birbal example was also clear, but I didn't understand why some demons are killed by Krishna and some through someone
No,
else. What is the reason for that?
there is no particular reason. It is just the will of Krishna, that's all. There is no particular logic where it says that because of XYZ, this person is killed by him and that person is killed by Lord. It is basically the will of the Lord. There are some cases where uh, there are there are some things which has happened in the previous generations of those living entities, but the root cause of even that is basically the will of the Lord, nothing else.
Okay.
As Prabhu was saying, some gorilla, some asur like Dhenukasur or Dvivida gorilla and all, they were killed by Balaram. And the story goes back to their previous life, as Prabhu said. So Dhenukasur had some, basically, some created some issue in the previous life. And that's why Balaram was supposed to kill him. So these actions are also there. And also it depends on a kind of a little greater fortune also. To die from the hand of the Lord is also better.
Yeah, I was wondering whether they were more better devotees in their previous birth. Is that the reason? So I was checking like that.
Good question, Prabhu. Thank you, Subal Prabhu. It's basically at the root cause. They say no 5 why analysis. At the root cause, the bottom root cause is always the will of the Lord. That's it, as simple as that.
Thank you. Thank you.
प्रभु पहले वाले श्लोक में ही ये स्वयं प्रकाश, प्राभव और वैभव, इन जरा तीनों टर्म्स में थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन है.
Okay, Prabhu, it's a very long description. So, in simple terms, Swayam Prakash means that the expansion is directly coming from Lord Krishna, and then Prabhava is basically the mood. So, for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, appearance of the incarnation of the avatar of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the Lord's avatar so that he could experience the mood of a devotee, particularly that of Srimati Radharani. And Vaibhav Prakash is basically the physical form. In simple terms, it's a very detailed description, but I am trying to tell in simple terms. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thanks once again to all the devotees, and thanks to Subal Prabhu for giving me this opportunity to talk about Bhagavatam and to talk about the Lord and his devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha krapa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you all for joining. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.